Happy Friday, wine lovers! It's Stephanie Miskew, certified sommelier and author of The Glamorous Gourmet. And welcome to my Facebook Live show, Wines of the Week. I'll be here with you every Friday at 5 o'clock to kick off happy hour and get the weekend started. And every week I share 4 fabulous wines you're not going to want to miss. So I'm thrilled you could be with me. And on today's episode, it's Fabulous Friday, October 20th. Today we're going to be talking date night wines. And I got a little something for everyone, I'm happy to say. So whether you're a millennial and you've got a casual first date, or you are looking for the perfect wine for your hot new Match.com crush, you got that hot date and you want a wine for that, awesome. Whether you need a wine for a special occasion date, like a birthday or, something special, or just date night, that you want to spend with your spouse of 10, 20, 30 years. I got a little something for everyone. You're definitely not going to want to miss these wines. They're great. And yeah, they're guaranteed to set the mood for love and all kinds of other stuff. But anyway, try to keep it PG-13. So thanks again for joining me. If you could go ahead, if you can hear me, if you could go ahead and just leave in the comment section below where you're watching from. I'm nosy like that. I like to know. I'd really appreciate it. Or if you don't want to share, just throw up an emoji if you can hear me. I like the hearts for today because we're talking dating and love and all that other fun stuff. So again, just so I know that you can hear me before I dive into the tasting, I would really appreciate it. And let me refresh my screen here. Awesome. Great. 1 second. All right, great. Oh, hey, Laura. Fabulous. And Jen, welcome. I'm so glad you could join me again. My girls are in the house. It's always fun when you gals are here, I gotta tell you. Okay, great. There we go. Let me sure that's on mute. There we go. All right, so before we dive in, I always like to share, for those of you joining us for the first time, the super simple format to the show. Every week it's the same. I taste through 4 wines, and while I'm tasting through them, though, here's what I love about Facebook Live. You get to ask questions or make comments, and I answer your questions and respond to your comments in real time. So that's what makes this so much fun, I think. Also, I like to keep each episode to about 30-40 minutes. Sometimes we run a little late, but just, I know it's Friday and you got places to go and people to see and maybe a hot date. I don't know. But anyway, so I try to aim for that time frame. And also, if you happen to be watching this after our live broadcast, please go ahead and comment and ask questions as if you were watching it live. Because I keep tabs on these videos for weeks after they air, and I'd be happy to get back to you and either respond to your comment or answer your question. So just go ahead. No worries if you're watching it after the fact. I'll still be here for you. So no worries, okay? Oh, and hey, Monica, great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yay, it's a fun group. I look forward to Friday. Friday has a whole new meaning now, and it's so much fun. So thanks for making it so much fun. So, all right, let's jump into our tasting then. Also, there might be a little button floating around that says notify me when I go live. If you want to be notified when I go live in the future, which is usually just once a week, but you never know. Every now and then I throw in a little surprise. Just click on that button, and that way you won't have to search for us. So just a tip, and up to you, but I would really appreciate it if you did. So, all right. So again, all of our wines tonight are perfect date night wines. And our first scenario is like the casual first date. And I'm thinking this is more like for the millennial, they all date so casually. And, it's not the kind of situation where you want to go over the top with a super pricey or fancy champagne or like an over the top cab. That doesn't feel right. So you want to go with something that's unique and elegant and not super expensive. And I think this wine that I've got is a perfect choice. And let's see, let me flip the screen so you can see it. There we go. It's from the Napa Valley. It's got a gorgeous label. It's the Galerie Naissance Sauvignon Blanc from the Napa Valley, 2015 vintage. I'm calling this a steal at $30 a bottle because when I tell you a little bit about it, you'll understand why it is a steal. But still, it's just a beautiful wine. And again, that label, it's from, the Gallery series, and you can see Naissance. And I thought it would be particularly good for a first date because Naissance means beginning. So this date could be the beginning or the start of something special, and wouldn't that be cool to kind of tie that in? Yeah, I'm patting myself on the back for that one a little bit. But again, the wine is just great. It's super versatile. I've already poured myself some, and it goes with everything. If you don't really know the person well enough yet, you might not know what kind of wines they like, and rather than showing up with like a big tannic cab or Malbec that is really intense, you can't go wrong with this really super elegant Sauvignon Blanc. It goes with virtually any scenario, any person, perfect for a picnic or even a movie night. And it's also from a female winemaker, which I love. Her name is Laura Diaz Munoz. She's from Spain, and that's where she studied winemaking, but she's been all around the world learning to make wine in New Zealand and Chile. But what I really love is eventually she found her way to the Napa Valley and studied under one of my favorite winemakers of all time, Chris Carpenter. He makes amazing Napa cabs like Cardinal and La Jolla and Mount Brave. They're all from like mountain fruit, but they're just amazing wines. And his influence really shows up in like the elegance in her wines. So she did all this studying, but then the Gallery series is her first solo project. And for this beautiful Sauvignon Blanc, she divides the batches of grapes up and she ferments a third in stainless steel, which gives the wine a beautiful crispness. Then another third she does in wood, French oak barrels. So it gives the wine this beautiful spiciness. And then the other third she does in concrete eggs, which is traditional in the Loire Valley, but it gives the wine like a beautiful minerality. And again, it's just really, really a beautiful wine. And then she blends them all at the end, so until it tastes just the way she wants it to. And let me tell you, she's done an amazing job. So let's jump into our tasting of the wine. And for those of you, is anyone joining me for the first time, joining us for the first time today? If so, let me know in the comments section. But for each episode, we taste through each wine using the 6 S's of tasting, which are see, swirl, sniff, sip, swish. And then the last one is savor or spit, but always because it's Friday, I always savor the wine. I don't spit. Anyway, on Friday. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We did it again. All right. So first we're going to look at the wine. And like I say, there's so much you can tell by looking at the wine. And a white background is always a great way to get a good sense of what the wine looks like. And you can see it's beautiful, pale lemon yellow color. It's very translucent. There's nothing floating in it, which is always nice. And there's no, it's not browned at all. We might, if it had browning, we might suspect it was oxidized or exposed to heat for a prolonged period of time. But this wine looks gorgeous. It looks like a 2015 beautiful Napa Valley Sauvignon Blanc. So we're going to move on to our next two S's because I like to pair the next 4. And the next one is swirl and sniff. So I swirl the wine to get, I really get a good sense of what the wine is going to smell like because it gets oxygen into the wine and it just cranks up the volume on the aromas, which are really important when you're evaluating wine. They can really tell you a lot about it. So, all right, now I'm going to roll right into the sniff. And I'm telling you, it's got really fragrant aromatics. And generally wines from warmer climates like Napa Valley or that, California in general have a little more intensity than old world wines like those from France. And it's just got beautiful like peach and citrus and a little hint of tropical fruit to it as well. It's beautiful. Other Sauvignon Blancs we have tasted in the past on the show have kind of had a little cat pee aroma to them, which is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. This one does not. This is all like fruit and beautiful minerals and citrus. And it's just, oh, hey, Jean. Jean says, looks like it's time to pour a glass. Bingo. Welcome to happy hour, my friend. So again, it's got just beautiful aromas that really make you want to go ahead and take a sip. So the next 2 S's I like to combine are sip and swish. So once you sip the wine, you really got to swish it around your mouth to really get a sense of what it tastes like. Once it hits all those flavor, because not only are you looking for flavors, you're also looking for the textural things like acid and tannins and those types of things. So cheers. Yeah, and that, wow, it definitely tastes like it smells, which is a beautiful thing. It's got the lovely peach and citrus and guava and a little bit of spice from the little bit of oak used, but it's so balanced and elegant. And the acid, if you've watched before and seen any of our Sauvignon Blanc tastings, you know, in Sauv Blanc, it just has that beautiful acid that lights up your tongue, lights up your whole mouth, and it immediately makes you crave, like, I don't know, like shrimp or steamed clams or something like that. It's just, God, that's beautiful. It's very nice. It has a nice roundness to it because, again, it wasn't just fermented in stainless steel. It also has an oak component, and which gives it a little more body than you'd normally find. And that's why it's a little bit more expensive. But again, it's just a beautifully well-made wine. And again, perfect for that first kind of casual date scenario if you want to keep it a little elegant and a little unique. And there's only like 3,000 cases of this wine made, which is nothing. That is such a small amount. So you show up with this wine, you know, you're looking pretty good, and that person's definitely going to want the second date. I'm going out on a limb and I'm saying that. But yeah, it's definitely, it's a winner for sure. And I hope you enjoy it. Are you all fans of Sauvignon Blanc? Is anyone watching a big fan? If so, do you have a favorite? And you can answer while I take another sip. That is lovely. Any questions about our first wine? Let me just check to make sure. Da, da, da. Yay, guys and gals. Awesome. All right, so let's move on to our second wine. So our first one was, I called it a steal at $30 because relatively speaking, you get a lot of elegance in that bottle for $30. So, and beautiful Napa Valley fruit, which, you know, that doesn't come cheap. So beautiful wine made by a great winemaker. All right, so second wine. Second scenario, awesome. Oh, Laura says duckhorn. That's a great one. Oh my God, delicious. Great choice. Jean says duckhorn and cake bread. Pouring the duckhorn now. Yes. I love it when I love when I don't have to drink alone. So thank you for that. So our second scenario, this is the hot date. Like, this is your new Match.com crush who you've met the person maybe a time or two, and there's like total chemistry. So this date is the hot date. Like, you can't wait to see them and you've got these great vibes going. So I thought this wine would be the perfect choice for that date. So let's go ahead and flip the screen. And it is the Spire Cuvée Saint, the Cuvée Saint Spire Pinot Noir from Carneros. It's a 2013 vintage. I'm hoping that the label is coming in a little better. There we go. It's a splurge at $50 a bottle, but you know what? If there's ever a grape that you want to splurge on, my friends, Pinot Noir is it. Because Pinot Noir, it's very difficult to grow. So you kind of get what you get what you pay for with everything, but Pinot in particular is one grape that you want to splurge on a bit. And honestly, there's no grape as sexy as Pinot. It's temperamental, it's expensive, it's high maintenance, and it's actually often called the heartbreak grape by winemakers. I've talked to winemakers and the looks on their faces because it's so difficult to grow and things can go wrong, but you know what? They just keep coming back for more because it's that good. I mean, Pinot is known, it's highly aromatic. It's got beautiful aromas and flavors of cherries and chocolate and spice, usually with a little bit of earth going on there. And I mean, and the texture, it's supple, sexy, and sensuous. It's like liquid velvet. It's just, of all the grape varieties, it's just, it's quite unique. And it's also in a sweet spot alcohol wise. So listen up. So it's got a little more alcohol than your white wines. This one has 13.5% alcohol. So it's got more alcohol than your white wines, but it's got less alcohol than your bigger, tannic, bolder wines. So things don't get kind of nuts right off the bat, you can really like sip and savor this wine as you're enjoying your date, and like gradually you'll feel like the little warmth kind of creep up your neck, and then you're feeling all good, and it's like a gradual awesome thing. So no one's getting like, you know, really drunk really quick off 16% alcohol Zinfandel right off the bat. So again, it's very sexy and seductive, and I love this particular wine. Cuvée Son is 100% sustainable, the vineyard. They're located in Carneros. They're all about estate grown Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and those two often go hand in hand. They're notoriously cool climate grapes. They originate from Burgundy, France, but gosh, California, as we know, if you've had any wine, California does beautiful examples of both of them, and I just really love their Pinot. It's 100% Pinot. It spent 11 months in French oak barrels, 33% new. So, you know, not a lot of oak, but just enough to give it those beautiful spicy notes. So let's go ahead and do our S's. Is anyone out there a Pinot fan? There's a good question, and I already know the answer to that for some of you, but I want you to admit it here for everybody. No, and it's a good thing. Oh, and Christina says, hi, cannot get volume. Surely it's on my phone. Can you all hear me? Because that would be bad if you couldn't hear. I'm hoping that you all can hear me. Someone give me an emoji or a thumbs up, pretty please. Well, I'm guessing you could if you answered the question, some of you, so fingers crossed. How about you let me know if you can't hear me? Well, I don't know. Anyway, people are, okay, good. All right, I'm taking that as that people can hear me. Like, oh God, that's a nightmare. All right, so let's roll into our tasting, and the first S is C. So we can, I swirl that wine so you can see it a little better. The color, it's like a beautiful purplish garnet color, but what I specifically love about it, and what's hard for you to see there through the phone, and I wish I could really, there's just no good way to do it, is that this wine is translucent. You can read through this wine. I mean, it's red, but it's quite translucent. I can read the print when I hold it up to like this white piece of paper with print on it. That's the way Pinot Noir should look. If Pinot Noir is dense and opaque, it might say Pinot on the label, but likely it's got other grapes or something called Mega Purple blended in to give it that robust color. But Pinot, classic Pinot, should be translucent. So this looks just like I would want it to look. So I'm going to roll into swirl and sniff. Just so much fun. Oh, and that is just, I'm gonna have to do that again. And that is all about, gosh, black cherries and chocolate and cassis and a little spice. Like that's just got such a beautiful, gorgeous nose. Classic Pinot Noir aromas that you're getting, just what you want. That's what seduces you and makes you want to take that next sip. So next is sip and swish. Can't help but smile after that. And again, similar on the palate as the way it smelled, beautiful layers of chocolate, like a dark chocolate and black cherry and cassis, and a little earthy note too on the palate. And definitely a little spice from the oak. It did receive a little bit of oak treatment, and it just shows up beautifully, beautifully balanced, and just all around a delicious Pinot. Oh, Jennifer asks, they add Mega Purple coloring to the wine. Yes. In fact, if you even Google Mega Purple wine, it will show you a package of the stuff. And that's kind of the scary thing, is that here in the US, there's about 60 chemical compounds that are approved to be blended into wine without any labeling required. And Mega Purple is one of those things. I mean, thankfully, I only feature wines, you know, where those things probably don't occur, but it does, you know, it does happen. And that's something that the consumer is really not aware of. And it's a kind of a little bit of a controversy in the wine world because, you know, winemakers don't want to have to put everything in. People think there's just grapes and water and alcohol in wine, and it can be so much more than that. In fact, I think there's only like 4 wineries out in California that are actually putting the like ingredient labeling their wine. And for that reason, but Yeah, so generally speaking, if you have a Pinot Noir, it could be other grapes, but sometimes it's mega purple, sometimes it's, you know, and it's not just used in Pinot, but in other wines too. So, you know, as a consumer, do your research sometimes, but yeah, you want to see a nice translucent Pinot Noir. But yeah, that's, yes. And Christina says, beautiful top on you. Thank you. I got it at this awesome boutique in Delray Beach called Linen Closet. I love it. God, everything I wear is from there. It's the best. All right, so that is our second wine of the tasting. So we've covered our casual first date with our Sauvignon Blanc. We've done our hot and heavy date with our Cuvée Sans Pinot Noir. Now we're moving on to our special occasion date. And I think we've all been on these dates. This is the date where it's, you know, it's a birthday, it's, you know, some special, like it's the anniversary of the day you met or something special to both of you that, you know, has some significance, and it's just not, you know, not an everyday. And of course, I think you probably already know where I'm going with this, because what is the perfect special occasion wine? Anybody want to hazard a guess? Champagne. Of course, definitely champagne is the only choice for the special occasion wine. And you know, champagne doesn't get enough love during the year. I know we think about it during the holidays and all that jazz, but champagne should really be a year-round occurrence for all wine lovers, because it's just amazing. I mean, it's beautiful. Not only are the aromas and flavors beautiful, it's so versatile with food. Everybody loves it. You open, you hear that cork pop, and like everyone smiles. So I am a huge advocate of champagne year-round. And the champagne I've chosen to share with you today is one of my favorites, the Taittinger Prestige Brut Rosé. It is the real deal. It's got the bottle enough is just gorgeous with the gold label and the beautiful, it lets you see the pink color of the wine, which is so nice. And Taittinger is just one of my favorite champagne houses. It was established in the 1700s, but still family owned and run virtually the entire time. And let me pour myself a glass. I love Fridays. So, and let me warn you though, champagne can only be called champagne when it's from the Champagne region of France. So you definitely want to go with the real deal, because if you show up with, and I love Prosecco, but if you show up with Prosecco to your special occasion, you might just get ghosted. I'm just throwing that out there, because that is a distinct possibility. It's got to be the real deal champagne from Champagne, France. Even if sparkling wine is made outside of that region in France, it still has to be called something else. So champagne is just the only thing that will do for the special occasion. And I haven't featured a rosé yet on the show, so this is my first, and I'm so excited for, especially for the winter months, the fall, winter months, you know, a little rosé gives a little more warmth, and it's just a beautiful thing. They may give it the beautiful color by blending in a little bit of still wine. So in this case, it's 15% Pinot Noir. So there's that in there. But they always use a relatively high percentage of Chardonnay, because that's kind of their signature grape. And it really brings like an elegance and delicacy to the wine that is just absolutely beautiful. So in any event, let's jump into our tasting. And first we're going to look at the wine, and we see it's got that beautiful pink hue, just like we would expect. You can see the bubbles kind of hanging out in there. I love, and I've been asked about this before, I love to taste champagne in a white wine glass, because you really get a better sense of the aromas and flavors. And if you're doing it professionally, you all only evaluate it in a white wine glass, usually a white Burgundy glass, because, you know, you can really, it's hard to stick your note in a flute, and you just can't get the same sense of the wine. So a white wine glass is always a good thing when you're talking about champagne. So it looks just like we would want it to look. Hello, wine. Hello, champagne. So, okay, I'm going to roll into swirl and sniff, except with sparkling wine, don't swirl, because it makes the bubbles go away faster. So I'm just going to roll right into sniff. Oh, and that is just... Heaven. I'm gonna dab a little behind my ears. Beautiful notes. You know what it smells like? If any of you has anyone ever had the popovers at Neiman Marcus with the strawberry butter? You know, and you get the popover that's all nice and warm out of the kitchen, and you get the whole thing of strawberry butter, and you're just kind of like spreading the butter, lathering it on the popover. That's what this wine smells like. It's got that bready kind of aroma from the yeast that the champagne ages on, but then the beautiful strawberry from the wine. Has anyone ever had those? I know at least one of you has, but in any event, yay. And I know Laura, you're a big Bubbles fan, so awesome. But yeah, that's what this wine smells like. It's just absolutely beautiful. So now I'm going to move on to Sip and Swish. And again, yeah, on the palate, you definitely get the strawberry and the brioche or the popover, but you also get like more complex red berry notes like raspberry, strawberry, let's see, and citrus for sure. But it's also definitely got that freshly baked popover thing going on that's just dreamy, and the beautiful acidity that champagne is so known for that just makes it even more heavenly, but just like a super special wine. Are any of you guys champagne fans or bubbly fans? Or what, if you are, what do you have a favorite champagne that you think you might break out on a special occasion with your honey? Just let me know in the comment section while I take another sip. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm gonna sneak another sip. And Laura says, no, but I want to go to Neiman Marcus. Sounds yummy. You and I are going next week, lady, because that is a fantastic... In fact, I make those popovers at home now with the strawberry butter. It's not that hard, but oh my God, they're so delicious. Okay, so that is my recommendation for the special occasion date. The beautiful Taittinger Prestige Brut Rosé from Champagne. It's a splurge at $70, but worth it, I think, for that special occasion. Anyway, okay, so our fourth and final wine of our tasting, this is for the date night date. And for all of those of you and me who are married, like, we get it. Every week or month, you just got to have that night with your honey that, you know, no phones, no kids, no work, no pets. It's just for you guys, right? And you should enjoy a special wine on that night, right? But rather than going with something super expensive, and I bet you didn't think I would save a steal till last, but I did in this case, it doesn't have to be something really expensive. For like a date night, I love the idea of doing a wine that maybe has some special significance to the both of you. It could be, you know, the wine you drank on your first date. It could be something you had at your wedding, or like something you discovered when you were traveling together or enjoying a meal together. And, you know, it could be as simple as, you know, it could be a simple bottle of wine. It doesn't have to be something very expensive. And the wine that I've picked today is actually a wine that's special to Steve and I. And let me show you what it is first. I love this label. All of the labels today are so pretty. Let's see. It is the Chateau Les Trois Croix Bordeaux from the Fronsac region. You can see these beautiful gold crosses because the Les Trois Croix means the three crosses. It's a 2011 vintage. Again, it's from a little winemaker named Patrick Leone. You can see there. It's just and he is just a really special guy. And we had the chance to meet him a few years back. We were in Provence at Chateau d'Esclans. He's a legendary winemaker. He has worked at some of the best estates in Bordeaux. If you've heard of a little estate called Chateau Mouton Rothschild, or he invented Opus One together, Tim Mondavi. He also co-invented Alma Viva from Chile. He has made some of the most amazing wines that many of us have tasted, and now he's making beautiful rosés with Sacha Lachine in Provence, and that's where we had the pleasure of meeting him. And we were there with some friends of ours, Kaki and Phil, and we had the most delightful lunch, a harvest lunch with Patrick and Sasha Lachine, and it was just, I rarely see my husband with a giant grin on his face, but I posted a picture on my Facebook page earlier today. There's a picture of like Patrick Leone holding a bottle of wine. Steve's behind him with just like this big old smile, just having a great time. So that's why this wine has like special significance to me, because this wine, while he's made some of the most expensive and nice wines around, this wine is his family's wine. This is wine he produces with his kids and at their estate in Fronsac, which is on the right bank of Bordeaux, close to Saint-Emilion and Pomerol. On the hill, they have a beautiful little estate, and this is the wine that they make, and it's $35 a bottle. And it's just exceptional. It's beautiful. It's a blend of 85% Merlot and 15% Cab Franc, which is typical of wines from the right bank of Bordeaux. And it is just so enjoyable. So every time I see this wine, you know, I think of him and that amazing day. And that, you know, that's why it just has special significance to us. But, you know, what is that wine for you? Was it, you know, again, something you had on a first date or something that you explore, you know, discovered while traveling? I think that's the idea of a date night wine, is something, you know, up your game, bring in something that has a little special significance, not just, you know, any old thing. But in any event, let's jump into our tasting. Let me see if anyone has questions. And if you have any questions or comments along the way, feel free to pop them in that comment section. All right, so if you look at this wine, we're going through C. You can see it's much darker than our Pinot Noir from before, right? It is deep purple. There is no reading through this wine. It is opaque and purple and gorgeous. But anyway, just beautiful looking, nothing floating in it. It looks just like I would want it to look. So I'm going to go ahead and go forward with swirl and sniff. Oh, and that is just, you know, and I don't know if you tuned in last week when I featured all Merlots, but Merlot, and this is 85% Merlot, it just got the most beautiful ripe dark fruit, blackberry and plum, and just, God, it's just juicy, and on the nose it's just delicious. It's got a cassis and violet on the nose as well. So I definitely want to take a sip. So here we go. Yeah, and definitely following through on the palate, but you get a much better sense of that. God, that blackberry is like a blackberry galette. It's like ripe, but not sweet. It's just that beautiful fruit. And again, the plum and the violet and the cassis and the spice from the oak. It's just a beautiful and it's a totally enjoyable wine. Can you tell I like it? I think I'm having another hashtag winegasm. But yeah, it's just really beautiful. And again, $35 a bottle. So I'm calling it a steal at that because, you know, we're talking kind of date night. So it's got to be special. So for $35, what you're getting in that bottle is like amazing. Very small production too. You should be able to find it online, but if you can't, let me know if you're interested in trying it. And let's see, I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. So are there any questions about any of the wines we've enjoyed, or I've enjoyed them. I don't know if you have any of the wines I've talked about so far. Let's see. If there are, go ahead and pop them in the comment section. If you think of something later on during the weekend, just come back and again, leave a comment. I will definitely get back to you, I promise. But if there's nothing new for now, I can't thank you enough for tuning in. I'm super excited to be back with you next Friday at 5 o'clock right here on Facebook Live when I'll be talking beautiful reds for Halloween. So there might be a costume involved, still working on that. But in any event, thank you so much for joining me. And if you would like to be updated on any other events I have going on, because we're kicking into season now, or just other things I'm writing about, you can sign up for my newsletter by just messaging me your email address, and I'll pop you on the list. I only send out 1 to 2 newsletters a month, so I won't be spamming your inbox, I promise. But unless there's anything else, yes, Jen, you have a great weekend too, and let's see. Oh, Christina asks, can you get the last wine locally? I'm not sure. ask at your whatever store that you go to, or if that's me, I could probably hook you up. But out of state, you probably have to look online. But again, if you have trouble, just message me and I'll help you figure it out. Because this one is, you know, they're all great. These are all great wines, but I'd be happy to help you. So with that, cheers to a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.